Okay, welcome everybody. We are really excited to present and co-present tonight with Walking Softer Education, an opportunity for high schools to really dig deep into their sustainability projects and potentially get some funding out of it, which is my favorite thing on earth. We have two guest speakers tonight who will really be digging into the Walking Softer program, who they are, why they're doing what they do, and how it applies to high schools in Missouri. So I'm going to pass it off. Jackson, are you up first?
Sure, I can do some. I'll just introduce myself and then pass it to Andrea. My name is Jackson Ray. I'm the education manager at Walking Softer. Um, been been with Walking Softer for almost 5 years now, and it's been great. The program has grown quite a bit, and we're excited to continue to grow the program even more. A little bit about my background. I did a environmental education program in Jackson, Wyoming, which is where I'm based now, called the Teton Science Schools, and that really was a great experience for me, a great learning experience. And then I finished my master's at the University of Wyoming in Laramie, and really have felt very lucky that with this job, I've been able to take a lot of those things that I was passionate about and to be able to support and empower other educators and students as well to work on environmental and sustainability projects. So thanks for having me. Excited to be here and talk about the program, and I'll pass it to Andrea.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Andrea. I'm located in Southern California. I've been with Walking Softer about 2 years now, and I have a background in environmental science and justice. I want to talk a little bit about Walking Softer. As Jackson mentioned, we've been around for about 5 years now. It was founded in 2020, and our mission is to inform, inspire, and support change makers to take bold and immediate action in the conservation and regeneration of our planet. We're a small remote team of about 12 people, and we're fortunately privately funded by our co-founders. So today we have a couple different programs ranging from a Young Leaders Award program that supports eco entrepreneurs to our education program, which is what we'll be discussing today. So, Walking Softer Education is a free program for high school students that focuses on sustainability and empowers youth to tackle community environmental challenges. It can be implemented in an in-class in an in-school setting, such as a class or a club, or an outside of school setting, such as a nonprofit's youth program. We offer learning activities, so we offer sustainability curriculum and then project how-to guides. They're all on our website for free and accessible by anyone at any time. We also offer up to $2,000 in project funding for those that participate in the program. And then the teachers that facilitate a group through the program are eligible for a $1,000 teacher stipend. For participating juniors and seniors, we offer a scholarship opportunity that ranges between $5,000 and $20,000. And then we also are bringing in this year a chance to do a virtual exhibit hall where students can share their project, talk, either have like a media night where we are sharing like artwork that they do based on their project or photos that they have. And it's just a way to have them connect with other students across the US since it is a virtual program. And then through the program, we're hoping that students will increase their sense of empowerment and community connection, that they deepen their understanding of sustainability issues and solutions, and then gain practical workforce skills that they can take on after high school through their next steps in their academic journey or into whatever workforce field they decide to go into. I'll send back over to Jackson to talk a little bit about the educational pillars that the program's based on.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, so we kind of developed the program with four primary educational pillars in mind. The first being place-based. We tried to make obviously sustainability and environmental issues can seem very overwhelming and sort of can sometimes be hard to relate to. So we tried to make sure that the focus is on their own local communities and how these issues are relevant to their daily lives. Um, we also wanted to make it interdisciplinary, so not just looking at environmental issues through like an ecological lens, but also looking at it through a social lens, historical lens, and really thinking more holistically about the issues and the solutions. And then we wanted to make it student-centered, so we really wanted to give students the agency to feel empowered and be in charge of their own learning in a lot of ways. So a lot of that comes through the student project, in which it's very student led, and a lot of the curriculum as well is very sort of discussion based, peer to peer learning, and that kind of stuff. And then we want it to be fun ultimately. We want this to be something that would be enjoyable for a student to be participating in, regardless of the setting that they're in. So we didn't want it to feel like, another sort of like environmental science class. We wanted it to be a little bit more, just a little different, like different kinds of activities, really putting a lot of the responsibility and the power in the students' hands and things like that. So, um, and I would, we've only got one live guest here, but something for people that are watching this on the recording. And Aaron, if you want to jump in, feel free. Don't feel any pressure, but um, it'd be interesting to hear about, because we work with groups all over the country. It's very interesting for us to hear about how educators might be able to use their place to teach about environmental issues and solutions. So, thinking about like if there are any solutions that are maybe already occurring in your community, or if there's any particular environmental issues that are prevalent in your community, and then thinking about, how those particular issues you might be able to use to teach environmental education in your community. So just something to think about. Okay, so the learning activities, as Andrea mentioned, part of the program, the first part of the program is you would that in participating teachers take their students through four required 30-minute and NGSS aligned lessons that Walking Softer has developed with other consultants and experts in the topics of rewilding, sustainable food systems, and material waste management. Each lesson includes a teacher-facing lesson plan that has a little bit more detail about how to facilitate the lesson. There's an accompanying student-facing presentation, which would be intended to be able to pull up and show the students as you're going through the presentation. That includes some media that we have on there, like images and videos and links to things that we're referencing. Um, and it is available to anybody on our website, so you can go and check out the materials at any point. You don't need to sign up for the program in order to be able to view those. And the link is right there. And then we do have additional lesson plans in all of those topics for groups that have more time. So, we wanted to make it so that, even if you were a little bit restricted on time, you'd be able to have maybe fewer barriers in being able to participate in the program. But for groups that do have more time, there are some additional lessons as well. And in general, we trust the educators, and obviously the educators know their students and their situations better than we do. So we just like to let the educators know that they can feel free to modify the lessons based on what works best with their own groups.
Yeah, another aspect of the program experience is the community projects. We have students lead projects addressing environmental concerns, and they're supported by the how-to guides that we offer and up to $2,000 in project funding that we also provide. We ask that they spend at least 15 hours working on the community project. So that includes planning and then the actual implementation of the project. As I mentioned, the how-to guides, we have 7 how-to guides. There's 2 per each focus area, so rewilding sustainable food systems and material waste management. But we also offer a create your own adventure or choose your own adventure how-to guide, where if students come up with their own idea for a project, they can go ahead and implement that as they know their community best. So we have a couple different examples here. There's one that's local to me here in Orange County, California. They did a native crop community garden, so they learned a lot about indigenous um, gardening methods, and then they were able to rent out a small plot of land at a local urban farm where they grew the three sisters and they learned about those methods. And then they did a capstone workshop at the end of it all to have the community come in and learn about what the project was and then highlight how they could become involved in this kind of work as well. Another example we have here is Cairo's Kitchen. It was in St. Louis, Missouri. It's the bottom photo there. They did a night of food and art. So they learned a lot about growing their own kind of food. They went through some food safety lessons so then they could host a night where they made some sustainable, healthy meals that they could share with the community. They brought in their staff, other students, and then some students created art. They had a musician there as well. So they hosted this night where they could talk a lot and teach as well to their community and try to engage everyone in sustainable topics. And then finally, at the top right corner, we have a food waste reduction campaign that was hosted by Herculaneum High School in Missouri as well. And they focused on food waste in their cafeteria. So it was a great example of how they were able to work with the cafeteria staff. It showed how the students were able to engage, with local community, as in like the members within the school. And they were able to analyze how much food waste was going on in their school and then try to bring awareness to that. And then also they were able to start a share table to make sure that students who needed access to food also had that available to them. So it was a pretty great campaign to show that. And
Right.
for the community projects, we have a really flexible timeline, so we don't ever want groups to feel pressured to have to complete something that might feel very daunting. If anything, we actually encourage projects that are ongoing, that they can be worked on and built on every year, because we find that to be more sustainable than like a one and done event. And while it is flexible, we do ask that the projects be able to start and finish within the same school year. So this year we start in August and we'll go all the way to the end of May. Um, Next slide. And we have a scholarship opportunity for participating juniors and seniors. They can apply for the scholarship, which will open in early January and it closes in April. The scholarships range from $5,000 to $20,000, and they can be used at a 2-year, 4-year, or a trade school. There's no specific major required. They just have to show that they've been involved in sustainable activities during their high school experience, and then that they're willing to go explore sustainable routes in their chosen path. So whether they want to do something like business or art, they just have to show like a commitment to sustainability in their future career.
Okay, awesome. And so just to share a teacher testimonial, this is Greg. He's a environmental science teacher at Lexington Catholic High School in Kentucky. He's actually been with the program. This will be his third year, I believe now. So he was their group was one of the early participants, and now we've expanded to a lot more. But it's been cool to see how his projects have grown. But he said that the lesson plans and resources provided by Walking Softer have reinvigorated our efforts. The psychological and environmental benefits of these green spaces have been made clear by Walking Softer and have given the kids involved a new sense of purpose. Students who see our work are becoming interested in environmentalism and what we're doing and signing up for our class. Walking Softer is truly making a difference in Lexington, Kentucky. And it's been really cool because like he kind of alludes to in this project, a little bit of context. They've had all 3 years they've built on a similar kind of project, which was essentially to rewild or green an unused sort of quad space that was in their high school. And they've approached it from different angles. Like they do talk about the psychological and health benefits of being able to host classes outside for the students, as well as it's been really cool because they also are tracking like ecological metrics, like how many pollinators they see coming to their garden and things like that. So it's been it's been unique from our perspective to see a group do a project like that that goes over the course of many years. And I think it's been really awesome. And so yeah, just Greg's been a great partner. It's been cool to see what they've been doing there in Kentucky.
Oh, I think he might have frozen. Um, can you still hear me okay, Deborah? Just to check. Okay. I can go on and
Yeah.
talk a little bit about our key dates here. Um, we are open right now accepting.
Okay, so some key dates,
Oh,
Andrea mentioned, And then there's a final program report. Oh,
We
did my internet
It cut out completely. Do you want to start over again
Start
from
over, Jackson.
yeah,
from key dates or
Yes,
when
from key
PD?
dates.
okay, I was like, don't let me talk about Greg again. I mean, I just was but anyway, okay. So here we are. Key dates. Okay, so as Andrea mentioned, we try to be flexible in our timeline, but groups do have to start and finish it within the same school year. And basically, what we mean by finish is to have worked at least 15 hours on the project and then to have submitted the final program report. So if the project is still ongoing, that's great. It doesn't need to be like, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't work on the project anymore. But it's just that's when you need to submit the final program report. So some key dates. The deadline to sign up for the for this school year is February 20th of 2026. So we're still open and still taking signups. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, please go to the website and that's where you'd be able to sign up from there. And then if it's something that you want to do for future years, you could sign up at any time and then we'd be able to communicate directly. And if you want to say that you wanted to do it next year, the earlier you can let us know, the better, really. And then the final program report is due May 31st. So that's kind of like to put a conclusion on the year. Regardless of when you sign up, it has to be submitted by May 31st. Granted, if you signed up early in the year and you finish early in the year, you could always submit it before then, but that's the last date to submit. And then the funding distribution date. So as we've mentioned, there's a teacher stipend and project funds that come along with program participation. And we will distribute those on an ongoing basis. Basically, in order to receive those funds, the teacher needs to have gone through the lessons with their students. The students will use the how-to guides to design a project and come up with a material list that they need for their project. And so, and then that will be put into an invoice. And then the teacher will submit the project how-to guide and submit the invoice and we'll approve it. We actually will set up a meeting to go over any questions or stuff like that. But once that gets approved, then we will send the funds out. And there are funding distribution deadlines for each month from starting at the beginning of the school year, going all the way through April. So like for this month, for example, if groups were able to submit their invoice by October 15th, then we're able to do our back end work and distribute the funds to them by the end of October. So each month it's the 15th. If you can submit before the 15th or earlier, then you should have the funds by the end of that month. Um, and there's no funding window in May because we didn't feel like that would give enough time for groups to be able to actually finish their projects before the final program report is due. So yeah, those are some of the key dates.
Yeah.
Andrea?
Yeah, so we are hoping to get some more Missouri schools involved. We've been slowly building a little hub, and we want to, we've been building a little hub in St. Louis, but would be more than happy to accept more groups in Missouri. So if this presentation hasn't convinced you yet, just to highlight the benefits for teachers and students a little bit more is you can empower your students to create change. You receive funding and support from us. We're really engaged and are always happy to jump on a call or just an email away. And you can enhance your curriculum with engaging real world projects to, change it up a bit in the classroom or outside. And we offer all the registration is online, so it's available now if you wanted to sign up. We have a QR code here, and then some screenshots of how it looks. You fill out a quick teacher intake form to create your account. From there, you'll have access to all the forms, with the MOU being the first form that you need to fill out to register. But if it seems confusing, like I said, we're always just an email away and we can help guide you if needed. But yeah, you can find that all on our website, walkingsofter.org/education.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. And at this point, we're happy to take any questions if anybody in the audience has any questions. And there's all our contact information as well.
I had a couple of questions that were submitted by folks who weren't able to join live. I'm sorry about my voice. And you actually addressed this, but I want to make sure that we get the correct answer. The question was, in quotations, implementation for us might take a long time, and how does that impact the program timeline and funding if we do not implement in the same year as we sign up?
Mm.
Yeah, so one of the timeline restrictions that we do have is that it is the program does go on a school year basis. I guess I would be curious what the what more information about sort of that project, because one way that I think that would, I think many impactful projects will take more than a year to implement. But I think if it was gonna, which I think is fine, but I think the educator would need to think about how it might be able to be broken up so that like in this school year, this group of students is working on this particular portion of a larger project. Maybe that could be that group's effort and that group's project. And then in the next year, there could be sort of like an expansion, sort of like what I was talking about with Greg in Lexington.
Yeah, he was a perfect example. I was like, I think we answered the question, but I just wanted to make sure.
Mhm.
Um, okay, next question was, how competitive are the student scholarships, and can everyone from my after school club apply, or should I nominate 1 to 2 students to apply?
I would say that as we grow the program, we've been getting more applicants. So for just some context, I think, first round of scholarship recipients was around 5 to 6 recipients or so. And then last year was kind of similar. And then this past year, we just awarded 14 students. So it's been slowly growing each time, just depending on the applications that we've been receiving. So I would say that we don't ever restrict groups to certain amount of students. We actually, one of the groups received about 3 different recipients within just one group. And I mean, we had, 35 applicants, so still, pretty pretty good amount of recipients from that group. But I mean, a teacher, if they feel like they want to nominate a certain student or help guide them through the process, they can, but we won't ever restrict a teacher to feel like they have to only push certain students. So we're more than happy to review all applicants and, ultimately the recipients will be the ones, who meet the criteria. There are essay questions involved and we review their background as well. So
That's great. That's so exciting.
And then
And then
one thing that I
go
would
ahead.
just add to that really quick, we are also going to host a scholarship info session in January. So like if there's students that are interested and aren't sure if they should apply, we highly encourage them to join that because we'll be able to walk through more of the application process and probably give them a better sense of it's something that they feel like they have a good shot at. And the application doesn't close until April 19th of 2026. So there will be plenty of time to apply after that if they still want to.
That's excellent. Perfect. We'll put it in our newsletter as well.
Awesome.
We also had one more submitted question. This one, I was really putting you on the spot, and I'm sorry. She said, I'm a middle school teacher, but my middle school is physically attached to the high school. We share the same building. Do we qualify?
So unfortunately, not for funding. We are restricted to high school aged students in order to, need to be the participants in the group. But that being said, I know it's obviously probably not quite as big of a draw without the funding option, but you can still access all the learning materials from our website if you're interested in, you know, using those in the classroom.
Excellent. I mean, hey, it's something. And then we had one question in the chat from Erin. She said, thanks for this information. I'm interested, but I'm not sure I'm prepared to start for this school year. I'm going to check out the website some more. As far as support goes, does that include contact with other teachers who have successfully completed the program? I am curious about the practical implementation of the project while still hitting all of the required standards of an AP class.
yeah, I would say that this is definitely something we're working on this year is connecting the teachers more, just because we talked to our previous teachers this past summer and they said that that was one of the things that they really wanted to do is collaborate with other teachers. It is virtual, so we understand that. And we're fortunate that all of our teachers are really engaged and great at like responding and making time in their busy schedules. So we actually this year probably have the most AP teachers we've had probably in all the groups, Jackson. So there's definitely as teachers that will have experience by next year on implementing a project at the same time as doing the course. I know one of our returning teachers this year did it in their AP environmental class last year, so it is possible. And maybe, that's something that it doesn't have to be this huge, like campus changing project. It can be something smaller that's aligned with something that you're teaching. So that's definitely something we can discuss once you join. But yeah, we'll be here once you're ready to participate in the program. Jackson, did I answer?
I would just say, yeah, Aaron, feel free to email us as well, like if you're interested in joining for next year. And in terms of that'd be something I think where we would just check with other teachers that we know did this in an AP environmental science classroom and see if they're okay with, connecting the two of you, which I feel pretty confident they would be, but we would just want to check with that first.
Aaron, I love the spirit of that question because I feel like teachers very much end up in little islands. And, it can be a very isolating profession, even though there are millions of teachers. But I think that it's really important to connect with people who are excited by this and also successful. So, great question. You're upside down right now, which is awesome. But thank you for the question. I also wanted to mention, just for those of you who are watching the recording, most of you are already involved in one of our programs. If you are a Green Schools Quest High School, your project fits so well with their program, which is why we wanted to bring Jackson and Andrea in here, because you're already doing this work. And if you can find even more resources and a bigger network across the country to connect to, I think that's really special and important. And I think double Sorry. I have an enormous dog and he is scared of everything.
Same.
Goodness. Anyway, if we can get people who can double dip and benefit from our programs and from walking softer, I think that's excellent. So if you're a Quest school who's like, I don't know, can I do both? The answer is yes, you basically already are doing both, and you should just get credit for both and the funding. So please, please apply at least and have a conversation with Jackson and Andrea. They put their contact up there. Please reach out to them if you have questions, and always you can reach out to me if you have questions as well. Jackson and Andrea, I'll give you the last word. Any other thoughts before I stop our recording?
I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah, thanks for having us again. And yeah, we're excited to get to know more educators in Missouri.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.